My name is Vinnie Patel, and this is a video diary to help capture my 2023 cricket journey using animations, interviews, cricket gameplay, and of course my own overthinking. Using anxiety as a starting point, I looked at the role it plays in my performance both on and off the cricket field and explored strategies at how I can manage it better. To get started, I reached out to Gunvant Patel to explore the topic further because he's an expert in the field, and I wanted to ensure that my research was complete because I can be a perfectionist like that. So over to him.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gunvant Patel, and I'm a psychiatrist in Melbourne, Australia. I'd like to thank Vinnie, first of all, for inviting me to take part in this project of his for 2023. As someone who is also Bradford born and bred and was a handy pace bowler in my youth, I can really get into his idea of trying to track his performance and experience over the year. I will be adding my expertise as a mental health medical specialist to assist in understanding the role emotions can play in your performance on and off the cricket pitch. So without further ado, let's first go on to the role of anxiety.
Before we move on to the actual cricket gameplay, I think we need to explore what the definition of emotion and anxiety are. So I'm going to demonstrate this using a whiteboard. Logical understanding of emotions is that in response to our interaction with the environment around us through our five senses, which are smell, hearing, sight, touch, and taste, our brain releases certain chemicals. Once released, these chemicals induce both physiological and behavioral changes within our body, all of which are associated with specific feelings. Now let's run through an example emotional response to give you a better idea. In this scenario, the environmental interaction involves someone invading our personal space, which triggers our brain to releasing the chemical adrenaline. Adrenaline alters our body's physiology by increasing heart rate, breathing, and blood pressure to increase delivery of oxygen, which prepares the body to enter fight mode. In this excited behavioral state, the threatened individual reacts to protect his boundary by showing aggression towards the invader, which pushes them back both physically or verbally. As you may have guessed, this particular cascade of events illustrates the feeling of anger. On the cricket field, being sledged by the opposition can also trigger this anger response. Aside from anger, there are so many other emotions we can experience in response to countless scenarios, and they all serve the purpose ensuring the human race's survival. One other emotion that we can all relate to is anxiety, and I want to share with you my relationship with it both on and off the cricket field. But first, let's look at how anxiety operates. Anxiety serves as a warning signal to the mind and body to be on guard because the brain has detected an actual or perceived threat. Let me use an evolutionary example to illustrate the origins of anxiety's place in human survival by taking you back in time to an era where our ancestors lived in small groups in the untamed environment. We would keep ourselves and each other safe and nourished by paying close attention to what was around us. Anxiety would then alert us to the presence of potential threats such as lions, other tribes, and disasters such as famine, which may harm our survival, and prepare the body to react accordingly. Reactions or defense mechanisms, as they are known, are fight, flight, and much less commonly, freeze or play dead. These defense mechanisms allowed our ancestors to attain a default aim of all species, which is to survive, thus highlighting the important role anxiety played in this. Now let's fast forward back to the present day. As we became more organized into larger groups and developed practical ways to make our physical environment safer and more comfortable, we no longer needed the anxiety system to be as active. However, our brains haven't adapted in a short time of 10,000 years, which is very short in the evolution of humans to the environmental changes. Our brains are now prone to make us worry more about things that are not real threats to our physical survival. Social and performance anxiety are new forms of potential threats, not to our physical survival, but our personal existence. But old defense mechanisms are now triggered in an attempt to manage these new anxieties. Flight now takes the form of avoidance, fight in the shape of anger, and freeze makes us try not to be seen and stay at home. Whilst of great value when it was a matter of life and death on the savannah, they can result in inappropriate responses to a far less crucial threat. Hopefully this very brief overview will help you think about anxiety and how it plays a modern day role, not only when on a cricket field in the form of performance anxiety, but also in our lives in the form of phobias, panic attacks, over-worrying, overthinking, and the one that I personally relate to and want to share, social anxiety. My understanding of social anxiety is that it is a fear of meeting people, talking to them, and social events in general. And this is something I first experienced back in 2007 when I left home for the first time to attend university. The University of Nottingham was my first choice to read chemistry. Initially I was very excited and looking forward to the new adventure. I adapted to the academic side of things really well because during the day I was conducting experiments, attending lectures, completing assignments, and this was very similar to life during sixth form, which wasn't much of a change. However, where I didn't adapt very well was to the rest of university life, such as making new friends and social connections. I just couldn't get my head around attending evening events like going barring and clubbing, and that just seems to be what everyone was doing and drinking, and I just couldn't get my head around all that. The result was days, weeks and months of me isolated from others and spending countless hours in my room with nothing but my thoughts bouncing off the four walls for company. All of this because my anxiety defense mechanisms were inappropriately triggered by my new surroundings and period of life. I think the main cause was probably my lack of experience with social events, as teen years were spent focused on studying and playing sports, which was not all that unusual and it can happen sometimes. What further did not help the situation was that I spent the semester living in an illusion that somehow my situation will magically change with no effort required from my end. Needless to say, this strategy does not work because if nothing changes, then nothing changes. The only way to turn my circumstances around was to do less thinking and take more action. This philosophy allowed me to dissolve the anxiety response and process it in a much healthier manner by ignoring any false alarms and only acknowledging the mechanism when I'd consciously analysed the threat and evaluated that it was real. Specifically, I decided that clubbing, bars and socialising were not real threats, and I just needed to learn this new skill. Appropriately overcoming the defence mechanism allowed me to experience events which I otherwise would not have been able to had I not overridden the anxiety response. So the events I'm talking about include social, travelling or academic. Having overcome the defence mechanism at various stages of my personal life, I began to reflect upon how it may still impact my performance on the cricket field, as this is something I've never considered. The one way I've always indirectly managed my performance-related anxiety is through my punctuality. Whenever there is a cricket or any sports-related session, I'm always early and ahead of schedule. So I think it's just part of my personality. I love playing sports, I like to turn up early to make the most of it, and this also helps with preparation. So before the main event, I'm just going through my warm-up routines to get warmed up and just preparing the mind and body before the actual sports session kicks off. Once I'm fully warmed up, I'll try and locate a football and then just run around the sports centre to get the cardio fitness levels up. So just hitting the wall and just simulate some random scenarios. So finishes such as running through on goal, hitting it first time, chip shot of the keeper, first time finish from any crosses. Aside from punctuality and preparation, there are other technical changes I can make during cricket practice net sessions to further tackle the performance anxiety, and I want to share this with you after this volley.
Where's the hell is Vinnie? Vinnie!
Vinnie, Ian's calling you, mate.
Alright, sorry mate, just getting ready. Right, I'm ready, let's go. Where is he?
Yeah. Vinnie, what are we working on today?
Yeah, so we talked a lot about anxiety and the mental health side of it. So I feel that anxiety is holding me back in a number of ways. So what we talked about last week is, so with the back lift, because I'm so scared that I might not react in time, my back lift is slow and I'm hitting the shot too early. Whereas what you said, you know, react later, faster. I want to wait till the ball's right in my hitting zone and believe that I won't miss the ball and play it really late and fast. So we'll work on that.
And what do you think about your grip? Your grip is okay? It's too near to the bottom side. So you want to get both hands together.
So a little bit higher up.
How do you feel about this way?
So I feel there's more leverage.
Yeah.
There's more leverage in the back.
Correct. That should solve your problem.
Okay, so
What you said about anxiety, you know, about not playing your shot with the confidence.
Okay.
So this way, I think you'll do well. When you come to bat and you say to yourself, today is my day.
Yeah.
This is my day. I'm going to get that turn I've been working on. So instead of being negative, be positive. Just walk in with the shoulder, chest out and shoulder out.
Yeah.
This is my day.
Yeah.
Okay, if you go back.
No, I think it's new technique, take a bit of time to get used to it, but I just want to work on it.
Okay, well done.
Cheers, buddy. I'll give it a go today.
Any other time, anytime you want to talk to me. Okay, thank you.
So yeah, so now let's, I'll give it a go.
Good?
Keep going, mate, yeah?
Enjoy.
So first ball, going to nets and I defend it, going back to old habits in my comfort zone. So Gian notices, reminds me that the whole point of today's session is to play more aggressive, more positive mindset, and to play attacking shots. And that's when I decided to flip the switch. And as you can see, you'll see an array of attacking shots here, which I don't play usually in nets or in games, but I decided to give the new technique a go. As you can see, batting during practice, especially indoors, is relatively easy because the ball has consistent pace and bounce. The real challenge will come outdoors, where the new ball swings, pitches show inconsistency in pace and bounce, and most significantly, there is a consequence should you play a bad shot. Therefore, this summer, I'm also going to explore how to more accurately simulate real match scenarios during practice sessions to bridge the gap between preparation and actual match play.
How do you feel your session went?
Yeah, so I implemented the technique with holding it higher up to get more back speed and power. So I think some shots you saw I played more aggressively than I usually do, but I think it also made my get a bit weaker because I got out a few times. Because usually when I play full defensive you can't get me out. But because I'm playing more aggressively, that opens me up. So I think going forward I need to kind of balance attack and defence, because I don't want to play attacking shots but then get out for low scores.
Okay. I think
Yeah.
you got so much knowledge of cricket.
Yeah.
You are contradicting yourself. This is not a criticism.
Yeah.
This is what happens to the guy who knows too much.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
if you go with one word from me, positive.
Okay.
Think positive.
Yeah.
You're talking about pull shot.
Yeah.
You're playing every ball into the leg side.
Okay.
Cow.
Yeah.
The ball across you. Even
Okay.
that you pull. The
Yeah.
ball in.
Yes, it's a bad
On
habit.
the leg side.
It's a bad
yeah.
habit, isn't it?
So you want to get out of that.
Yeah.
That is your weakness, so work on that.
Okay, we'll do that next week. So thanks again.
Okay.
So I have some transfer related news. So last year, during the final 3 games of the 2022 cricket season, I spent on loan at a club called LPS, and they've just put an offer in to sign me on a permanent deal for this year. So the offer is going to remain undisclosed, but CrossGates and I have accepted this offer. I've primarily accepted the offer because going forwards I've moved homes, and travel to CrossGates and some of the away games in the York League would be well over an hour, and it's just too far for me, whereas the LPS ground is a lot closer to where I live. And secondly, I know a lot of the LPS players because they're from my Patel community, so I know a lot of them from growing up. I enjoy their company, I see them at social events outside of cricket and any tournaments I've played in up until now, so I'm really looking forward to reconnecting in general. Now, CrossGates Cricket Club is my childhood club. I've been at the club 20 years this summer, so I could truly never leave. I've gone through all the junior rankings there. I still keep in touch with all the people I've played over the years. I went to India in 2005 on a cricket tour, and so many other countless memories. So I'm going to carry on managing the junior setup during the week, and I'm hoping to build that as the seasons go by. And I'll just be playing my Saturday cricket with LPS instead, which I'm really looking forward to. The first meetup with the LPS team is next week during groundwork day, so I'm looking forward to that. Even though I know most of the people and there's a lot of familiarity, whenever you move to a different club there's always that anxiety, which I'm feeling at the moment. So, you know, in my head everything seems okay, but it's only when you go to the club and experience it that you find out how you're actually going to feel. So, you know, hopefully everything will go well. We'll see how the initial meetup goes and then the seasons in the months ahead. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.